This is Maurice Odhiambo, the African teacher, here in Nairobi. Now, Africa, our continent, is now exchanging criminals for its best trained brains. I've just reviewed an article by the BBC just a couple of days ago, and it's titled, Destination Africa. Is it legal for the United States of America to deport foreign criminals to the African continent? Now, let's put that aside for a while. A while ago, when I was doing my program, Why Africans Are Poor When Africa is Rich, I talked about the problem of brain drain. And in one of my videos, I read an excerpt from Giles Bolton's book, Aid and Other Dirty Business. And this is what Bolton said. Africa's brain drain is becoming an ever more grave issue. Yes, many of those who work overseas send money to their families back home, bringing some new resources into the economy. But it is not the same as directly participating in the development of the poor society itself. Bolton goes on to say, and it is, of course, the poorest countries with the fewest career opportunities and smallest salaries who suffer most. And Bolton goes on to talk about Mozambique, Ghana, Tanzania, and the rest who have really suffered from brain drain. So now, the importation by America and other developed nations of qualified, trained people from Africa has not stopped. It is going on even as we speak. So what this means now is that as our best brains go to develop the developed nations, we are now receiving criminals in our continent. It is the USA itself which described and continues to describe the people it is deporting as the most violent criminals. Now, a number of countries have already received their share of the most violent criminals. These countries include Eswatini, South Sudan, and recently Rwanda. And Uganda is also preparing to take its fair share of violent criminals. So the Rwandese actually expect to take in 250 violent criminals. Now that's the situation we are facing. It's a policy under the Make America Great Again philosophy, which is being implemented under what we call in international relations the theory of transactionalism, where relations between states, relations between nations, relations between societies are reduced to transactions. In other words, your leaders are being bribed to take in the most violent criminals being deported from America. And the African Union is quiet. It seems to have transitioned into an NGO that relies on donors for funds. So it cannot say anything against what the same people whom it depends on for its survival are doing. This is one of the most foolish policies. And the African leaders who are involved in this should be ashamed of themselves. But even more, the populations of Africa must arise must arise and say no to this criminalization of the continent.